flight was supposed to be routine until it turned into a nightmare. When an Indian veteran quietly took his seat, he had no idea he was about to face the ultimate humiliation. A flight attendant, fueled by assumptions, called the police on him. But what happened next left the entire plane in shock. Why did she target him? What shocking twist unfolded just minutes later? Watch the whole story to witness how one moment of injustice led to an unforgettable turn of events. Watch the full story now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening stories. Raj Malhotra adjusted his seatbelt, his tired eyes scanning the crowded airplane cabin. A retired Indian veteran, he had spent decades serving with honor, yet today he felt uneasy. The flight attendant, a tall woman with piercing blue eyes, kept throwing suspicious glances at him. Suddenly, she stormed toward him, her voice sharp. "Sir, I need you to step off the plane immediately." Confused, Raj blinked. "Is there a problem?" Passengers turned their heads, whispering. The attendant's voice rose. "You're making other passengers uncomfortable." A cold silence filled the cabin. What had he done? Before he could respond, the PA system crackled. "Security, report to gate 23 immediately." Raj's heart pounded. He had faced countless battles, but none like this. Then, 5 minutes later, the flight attendant's world turned upside down. Raj's hands tightened around the armrest as murmurs spread through the cabin. A uniformed officer boarded the plane, his expression unreadable. "Sir, please step out with us," the officer instructed, his tone firm but not aggressive. Raj took a deep breath, keeping his voice calm. "May I ask why?" "I have done nothing wrong," the flight attendant scoffed. He was acting suspiciously, kept looking around, shifting in his seat. A young woman in the next row frowned. "That's not true. He was just sitting there quietly." More passengers nodded in agreement, but the flight attendant remained defiant. "I know what I saw." Raj reached into his pocket slowly, pulling out his military ID. "I serve this country. I deserve respect, not baseless accusations." The officer examined it, his brows furrowing. Then his radio crackled. "Captain needs to see you. Now. We have a situation." The officer hesitated, his grip on Raj's arm loosening. The tension in the cabin was thick, eyes darting between the flight attendant and the veteran. "Captain, what's the situation?" the officer asked into his radio. A static-filled response came through. "There's been a misunderstanding. Bring the passenger up front." Raj stood tall, adjusting his jacket. "I'll go, but I want an explanation." As they walked toward the front, whispers spread. The flight attendant followed, arms crossed, still convinced of Raj's guilt. When they reached the cockpit, the captain, a woman with silver-streaked hair, examined Raj's ID. Her eyes widened. "Sergeant Raj Malhotra?" she asked, her voice softer now. Raj nodded. The captain exhaled sharply. "I served under your command in Afghanistan." She turned to the flight attendant, her expression darkening. "You just accused a decorated war hero." The flight attendant's face paled as the captain's words sank in. The murmurs in the cabin grew louder. Passengers exchanged glances, some pulling out their phones to record. A war hero?" she stammered, her confidence visibly shaken. The captain nodded, her gaze sharp. "Sergeant Raj Malhotra led rescue missions that saved countless lives, including mine." The police officer's grip on Raj immediately loosened. "Sir, I sincerely apologize." Raj remained composed but firm. "Why did she assume I was a threat?" His voice was steady, yet the moment's weight pressed heavily on everyone. Passengers started speaking up. "Yeah, what was the reason?" one man asked. "Would you have done the same if he wasn't Indian?" another woman demanded. The flight attendant swallowed hard, struggling to respond. The atmosphere was no longer in her favor. Justice was against her. The murmurs had turned into outright protests. Passengers were no longer silent observers. They were witnesses demanding accountability. "This is racial profiling," a woman in business attire shouted. "We all saw what happened. He did nothing wrong," another passenger added. The flight attendant took a shaky step back, eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. I, I was just following protocol," she stammered. The captain's voice cut through the tension. "No, you weren't. You saw an Indian man sitting in first class and assumed he didn't belong." She turned to the police officers. "Escort her off the plane." The crowd erupted in gasps and murmurs as the officers stepped forward. "Wait! No, this isn't fair," the flight attendant pleaded, but it was too late. Passengers watched in stunned silence as she was led down the aisle. Her arrogance had sealed her fate. The flight attendant's protest turned into desperate pleas as the officers escorted her down the aisle. "Please, I was just doing my job. This is a misunderstanding," she cried. But no one was listening anymore. Passengers had their phones out, capturing the moment she was removed from the aircraft. The same humiliation she had tried to inflict on the Indian veteran was now her burden to bear. The veteran, still composed despite the ordeal, sighed deeply. The captain turned to him with an apologetic expression. "Sir, on behalf of this airline, I deeply regret what happened today. You are more than welcome to continue your flight with us." He nodded but said nothing, his dignity speaking louder than words. A quiet but undeniable shift occurred as the doors closed behind the disgraced flight attendant. Justice had been served, but the scars of the moment would linger. As the plane finally took off, the cabin was filled with an uneasy silence. The Indian veteran sat calmly, his hands resting on his lap, his expression unreadable. Around him, passengers whispered, some glancing at him with newfound respect, others still processing what had just happened. A woman across the aisle leaned forward. "Sir, I'm so sorry you had to go through that," she said softly. A few others nodded in agreement. The veteran gave a small, weary smile. "I've faced worse, but I never thought I'd have to fight for dignity on a flight I paid for." News of the incident had already started spreading. By the time they landed, the video had gone viral. The airline was forced to issue a public apology, and the flight attendant, who had acted out of prejudice, was terminated. As the veteran walked toward baggage claim, a young man approached him hesitantly. "Sir, I just wanted to say thank you for your service." The veteran paused, nodded, and walked on. Justice had been served, but the real battle for understanding, for respect, was far from over. Enjoyed this story? Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring tales. Let's spread the message of hope and unity together. Thanks and take care.